What's up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Today I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to jump away from the Pariah Nexus stuff that we have been doing a little bit. Well, this will be above the Pariah Nexus. I'm going to be going into the ATC missions and layouts that they're going to be using from the Tournament Companion and layout the missions from the deck. So we'll start out today with ATC and the layout 1 that they're going to use. And then I will also lay out each of the 6 missions on this layout so that we can take a look at how each deployment and objective will look on these layouts. I do have the actual same terrain as Away Games, who is going to be supplying most of, if not all of the tables at ATC. So hopefully this should give us a really good look at what we're going to see. All right, so first we're just going to be taking a look at the layout. This is layout 1, laid out the same way it is shown in the Tournament Companion, exact measurements and everything. So there's only a couple firing lines on this table. So if you see here, we got the main firing line is going to be down through here from side to side. And then there's going to be a smaller firing line through here. You can see you can just skirt that turn. You can get a slight shot into that alley there from here. It'll be the same thing on that side coming down through to this alley. So you got this slight little. So you may look like if you put here, nothing can shoot you. But actually, if you poke out here around this area, you do have potential to get a long range shot down in there. So there is the middle of the board cluttered here. So unless you have infantry, if you have a lot of big tanks and stuff, you're going to have to swing around to start getting in and pressuring the middle of the board. Well, that's basically it. You got the one shooting lane down through here, the 2 minor shooting lanes going this way. I'm going to set up the first mission. Okay, so this is the first mission. It is mission B. It is Tipping Point, which is the hand grenade deployment with stair step. As you can see, I got the blue dice here, the Art of War dice for this side, the black Red Wolves dice for my army right there. So that's the deployments. You got the 1 center objective. You got those objectives, 4 objectives around the side. The mission special rule is smoke and mirrors. After both players deploy their army, starting with attacker, each player can place 1 unit from their army that is on the battlefield in strategic reserve, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve, up to 500 points. So this just lets you a little shenanigans of putting something into reserve that you don't normally, or putting something on the table you don't want your opponent to know you're going to have reserve, and then moving it back. And the actual mission is Purge the Foe. So that's the turn 1. If you kill a unit, you get 4 points. That's all you can score turn 1. Starting turn 2, you get 4 points if you kill a unit, 4 points if you kill more enemy units. And then for objectives, you get 4 points for holding 1, and then another 4 points for holding more. So with potential scoring 16 points per round. On the 5th turn, whoever goes second gets to score their objectives at the end of the battle round. So you have the same firing angles as we showed on the other. So I'm pretty sure on all these layouts, the middle objective is going to be right in the line of fire. You got the 2 in your deployments that are really well hidden, and then you got the 2 offset ones that are going to be right in that secondary firing line. So definitely a lot of shooting on the 3 middle objectives. You are going to be able to hide on your back objectives fairly well on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and set up mission J, the second mission for ATC. All right, here you see the second mission on layout 1. So this one, they're doing search and destroy deployment. So you got the 9 inches from the center, and basically table quarters off that. So you're only going to be 18 inches away at the center to get to each other. You see the 2 The two objectives in your home base in your deployment zone stayed the same spot as the other mission. So really well hidden, should hopefully be fairly easy to protect. The middle objective stayed the same. The two outside no man's land objectives moved. So they're now out of the line of fire of the main firing line down the middle of the table, but they are now they're each going to be able to be seen from the one short angle firing line. So a little less firing to the objectives on this one, it looks like. The only thing on the, a little more firing because they moved a little more into these fire lines, I think. But the mission special rule for this one is raise banners. That's one where if you have a battle line unit from the army controlling an objective, you actually get to raise banner onto one VP. You can only do each one once, so potentially 5 more VP during the game. And then the primary is linchpin. This is the one where if you control your home objective, it's worth 3 points, and then any other objective is worth 5 points. But if you don't control your home objective, then the other objectives are only worth 3 points. So it's really important to hold your home objective on this one, and then hopefully raise a couple banners. If you're somehow able to take your opponent's home objective from them, that'll really skew the battle in your favor because you're going to be scoring more points, a lot more points on the. Oh, I didn't. All right, I thought that was weird. I didn't place this last objective marker. Let me do that real quick. That was throwing me off for a second. I got a message and got distracted. All right, so this one's going to go kind of like that one is right there. Go like this. Should be just be able to be held from back on that side. So you should hopefully have the two side objectives here that you're able to hold without having to expose yourself. It's never a good idea to expose yourself. All right, so it should be more like that. So if you're able to, you should hopefully be able to toe in on these two outside objectives here, and then these should be easy to hold. So primary is really going to come down, I think, a lot to holding the middle, because you should hopefully, in most matchups, be able to equally hold your two. But certain armies are better at stopping that than others. But in most fairly close games, you should be able to hold both the two. So it'll really be the fight over the middle and secondary drones. All right, so that's the second one. We're going to go ahead and get into mission P, which is let me go ahead and set that up. All right, this next mission, you see the objectives on the corners is right here. I've almost moved back to the same spot. They're slightly off by 2 inches from the long edge. Other than that, they're almost back to the same spot as the first mission. The middle objective and the 2 home base objectives have been in the exact same spot for all 3 missions so far. So we haven't had to move these. So this deployment is Crucible of Battle, which is the angled deployment. It's the only angled deployment left. The mission special rule for this one is Inspired Leadership. When your warlord is not within your deployment zone, if he's within 9 inches of one of your units, they get +1 to their battle shot test if he's visible to them. I'm sure it'll come up every now and then, but it doesn't seem like it should be a huge impact on the game. The primary mission for this one, though, is Scorched Earth. So starting on the second turn, you're able to attempt to burn objectives. So basically, you have one of your units start an action. At the end of your opponent's turn, if you still control the same objective marker, and that unit's still there during the action, you burn the objective marker and remove it. From the second battle onwards, for primary, you get 5 points if you burned an objective in no man's land, and 10 points if you burned an objective in your opponent's deployment zone, and you can't burn your home objective. And then regular scoring at the end of the command phase, or if you go second at the bottom of your 5th turn, you get 5 points for each objective up to 10. So you really only need to hold 2 per turn for scoring your 10 max there for primary. The rest of your points you're going to need to get from burning, because you only have 4 turns of scoring. So if you just hold 2 objectives, 4 turns, you'll have 40. So to max primary, you're going to need to burn 2 no man's land objectives or your opponent's home objective. You can only burn one objective per turn. So you can't like try to burn a bunch at the end of the game. You can only burn one per turn. So the firing lanes on this are very similar to the first one. So there's not much really to get into there. This mission is really going to come down to if you're able to burn objectives and your opponent's not, I believe. So once again, that's pretty straightforward there. All right, so we got 3 more to get to. So we're going to go ahead and set up number 4 for you. So I went to start setting up the next mission, and I realized the last 3 missions all repeat the same deployments. So the objectives and everything will be in the same positions. So I'll go ahead and just go through the rules and stuff. So the first one, so mission 4 will be tipping point. Is mission A. We'll have raised banners again. So that's repeating that rule, which we just went over. And then the mission is take and hold. So in the command phase or in the first turn, you get 5 BP for each objective up to 15. Very standard, very simple. If you want, go back and look at the layout one at the start of the video. The first mission we did, you see the layout of those objectives for this one. So it's a mission rule and the deployment repeated, and then take and hold, which is honestly the most basic of all the missions we have. And then when they repeat the missions, they are in order. So now it's going, the deployments are listed out. Then mission I is search and destroy as a deployment. But the mission rule is a new one. So we have prepared positions. Players can target their battle line units with the go to ground or throw intervention strats for 0 CP. I cannot do so if that strat's already been used. Maybe a little useful, nothing too big there. And then the primary mission on this one is Burden of Trust. End of the command phase or end of the turn, if it is the 5th battle round and you're going second. The player's turn is force 4 BP for each objective marker they control that is not within their deployment zone. Then for each objective marker that player controls, they can select 1 unit from their army, excluding aircraft, when within range of the objective marker to guard it until the start of their next turn. Basically, you get 4 for holding the objective and pick a unit to guard it. If they survive to your next turn, you get 2 BP. And you have to survive and still control it. So if at the end of your next turn you still control that, you get an additional 2 BP. So the objectives that you're really locking down and you're going to hold most of the game, you've got 6 BP for. You have potential to get some more on other ones. So pretty straightforward there. People who have more survivable units want to take objectives, so benefit there. If you're just throwing units out to hold, well, you need to hold it to your next turn anyway to be scoring it for your next turn anyway. So your survivable units will work better for a good time. And then mission N is Crucible of Battle again, which is the angle deployment, which is the one we just went over. And then, well, actually, I can go and bring that back up because this one's nice and relevant for this one. So this one will still be Crucible of Battle again. The mission special swift action. Battle on units that advance or fall back are still able to perform actions. So it's making it a little easier to do actions. And then the primary mission for this one is the ritual. So this is the one you do an action. You can do an action in your shooting phase. 1 unit from your army. It's your turn. Set up 1 objective marker anywhere on the battlefield, wholly within no man's land, and within 1 inch of your unit, provided be set up exactly 12 inches from one other objective in no man's land, and not within 6 inches of any other objective marker. And then for the second battle round on, you get 5 for each objective marker in no man's land, up to 15. So the home objectives don't do anything other than for secondaries in this mission. And at the start of the battle, you remove all but the middle objective. So these 2 red ones here would disappear, and you would just start with this one here. And then you can only set up objectives. So the first objective that has to be set up will have to be set up within 12 of this. So that gives you like out to here, back to here. So you got a pretty good range of that. But then the rest have to be within 12. So you're probably only, at max, you can probably set up 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe you can find a way to squeeze 6 in here. But you're probably going to end up with 2 on each side in most situations. So there will be a little less more. there'll be fewer objectives in most cases than with the original ritual, just because it's a little more restrictive on where you can place them, and actions are a little more restrictive on who can do them. But that's it for layout 1. I will come back later with another video on layout 2, and this time I'll go ahead and do 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6 while I have the layouts up on the screen, now that I know they are going to be different. All right, so that's it for layout 1, and we will catch you guys next time.